Hello everyone, get ready for some trending new info in your quest for knowledge. What is the scariest noise you've ever heard? I was shot at once, and the sound of a bullet passing close by is pretty distinctive, but I didn't realize what had happened until later, so I wasn't actually frightened by it. The most terrified I've been from a sound was when I was working graveyard security at an old army fort converted into a school. Part of the job was to walk through the buildings every hour or so and check the doors that are supposed to be locked. During one check I stopped midway to use the bathroom, and while I was washing my hands I heard a sound part way between a moan and roar. That was exactly the sound you'd expect some shambling undead monstrosity to make, and it came from right outside the bathroom door. I stood there frozen in terror for a good 5 minutes, still holding a paper towel. When I didn't hear any other sounds, I turned the lights off to get accustomed to the dark, slowly opened the door, and sprinted for the exit. I didn't go in another building the rest of the night. 2 days later I was back for a day shift on the weekend. I'd had some time to consider what had happened, so I went back to the same bathroom and flushed the toilet. A minute later, the old water pipes made the same noise again. One time at 3 a.m. my big dog let out a full-on wolf howl in a dark room. He was dreaming. I've never heard him howl, before or since. It was a full volume, a row about a foot from my face while I was asleep. I seriously thought I was in mortal danger. I was walking my dog at about 4 a.m. a couple of years ago. I go to work before the crack of dawn, and heard a coyote howl in my neighbor's backyard. Then another one answered it, from the other side of the street. My dog literally stopped and crapped in the middle of the street, then turned and headed back to the house. I almost pooped, too. In my early 20s, I worked at a nuclear power plant in the laundry department. And there was an alarm for a nuclear event while I was on shift. All non-essential personnel had to take shelter in the on-site bunker, and wait. For hours. The speakers blared an alarm and notice inside and out of the complex. The notice was something akin to alert. Nuclear event in progress. Take your stations. Alert. Hours. The sound on its own wasn't actually scary. It was the fact that it came from the middle of my room, in the dark, and it sounded like a person making a popping sound with their lips. I was trying to convince myself that I imagined it. Then I tried to make the same sound, to see if I could. I did. And then I heard it again. Like an answer. Yeah, 10-year-old me was scared poopless by that. I still have no idea what that was or where it came from. Girl getting her hip popped back into place in the ER with no meds after being thrown 100 feet off a motorcycle. I will remember the scream forever. It seriously haunts me. Oh. My. Exactly how I feel whenever I think about it again. Hope she's doing okay now lol. When a fox screams they sound just like a woman being brutally beaten to death. Imagine waking up to that right outside your window at 3 a.m. Can confirm. The first time I heard it, I was unnerved by how fox-like she sounded. Hold up. The roar of a tornado that was about 1/8 of a mile from me combined with the sound of the emergency sirens and the fierce winds full of all kinds of debris. I tell you what, that sound is almost calming when you've been inside a tornado and can compare the sounds. I live on the edge of tornado alley. I've been as close as you're saying, and in my basements, it's horrible and the like, but not nerve-wracking. You expect the howling rain/wind/sirens. You expect the crackle of the Weather Channel coming in and out before silence and dark. Then I was inside an EF2, I cannot imagine an EF5. There is the expected buildup of the above crackle, dark, crackle, silence, dark. But there comes another set of sounds when the tornado is approaching that was unfamiliar to my 23-year-old self, and been through constant drill since childhood. It's that rush you hear when a big rig is coming up on your sedan on a 2-lane highway, but amplified by 1000. And then there is a noise you can only place because of action movies. The sound of metal tearing apart and away from concrete. And then an earth-shattering thud. The rocks, the foundations of the house you're in as in literally fell from the couch thud. The National Weather Service announcements on TV/radio. The aggressive beeps followed by the muffled and staticky voice is horrifying. How did anyone expect everyone to remain calm after hearing that? It doesn't help that it is in movies preceding the announcement of undead coming back to life or strange objects in the sky. First time I heard it on an American radio station IRL, I was kinda worried. The thunk of a car hitting my sister and the noise she made as she hit the pavement. Truly the most pants-crapping level of terror I've experienced, and that's a deep well to draw from. She survived, after resuscitation. Don't drive drunk. My brother got hit by a college-aged girl when we were in high school. The sound kinda fricked up my friends and me for a while. He got nailed at like 35 miles per hour when we were crossing the street. He went first and the person using the turning lane didn't see him due to the other cars stopped at the light. My brother didn't get severely injured, but he got a good concussion and a gnarly case of road rash. Oh, and a broken foot from where it got run over by the front tire before the forward momentum sent him bouncing down the street. Someone moving downstairs when I knew for a fact no one else should be home. Ultimately more a sad story than a scary story, but when I was a teenager my parents went to visit family out of town and let me do my thing at home for a few days. Unfortunately my mom got a call that grandpa had died, so they returned early and in the middle of the night. But instead of calling ahead or ringing the doorbell and just waking me up, they decided the best course of action would be to just let me have some sleep and then tell me in the morning. Needless to say I was almost scared to death when I got up in the morning and heard someone downstairs and the door opening and closing when I thought I was home alone. My friend's mom wailing at his funeral. She aged 20 years in 3 days. I used to volunteer in a NICU with preemie babies. Great job. It was a fairly small hospital with a bigger, more advanced one nearby, so our babies were rarely in much danger. They just couldn't quite go home yet. Maybe my second week volunteering I saw one of the visitor rooms open and heard this wail from a mother whose twins had just passed in her arms. The scream of a parent losing a child is such a primal, haunting sound like absolutely nothing I've ever heard before. This was maybe a decade ago, but I can still hear it like it was yesterday. Woman howling in distress after her very young son had died due to a sudden and unexpected illness. Me and the nurses ran towards thinking someone had been seriously injured. We found her completely broken and took her somewhere for privacy until her brother could arrive. That sound will forever haunt my nightmares. I try not to think of it because I start tearing up. I will never forget it. I occasionally get auditory hallucinations when I'm falling asleep. Falling asleep last night I heard what sounded like someone pounding on my door. Freaked me out, but our dog wasn't barking, which let me know it wasn't real. Same. My scariest auditory hallucination was a low-pitched evil laugh. I get shivers writing this. Just out of curiosity, what's it like having these hallucinations? This alarm that comes on to warn of imminent attacks. It's only been drilled so far, but it's scary as hell. Nothing like a fire under your donkey to get people moving, I bet. They freak me out too. Reminds me of the messages everyone in Hawaii got that one time. Missile inbound. Yeah, what a lovely message to wake up to. What would have been your answer or question? Leave it in the comments below. Slap that like and subscribe button for more, and check out the link in the video description for even more answers. Peace out, and catch you in the next video.